meteorologist, Chase Myers.
If you're a builder and you haven't went to Little Shaver's Wood Shop, you're missing all types of lumber products, hard to find woods and paneling materials that are in stock and ready to help you conquer anything the job throws your way. Locally owned, Little Shaver's Wood Shop has a friendly, knowledgeable staff to get you in, out, and on with your day. Little Shaver's Wood Shop, 3301 Salisbury Highway in Statesville. Little Shaver's Wood Shop, LILshavers.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. Happy Friday to you. Welcome to the Scoreboard. Oh, what a day we have for you guys today. Good show lined up, a lot of good information for everyone. So, I got some good news and bad news today. I do. We're going to get into it. But the high school basketball season is continuing on. We have some really big news out of this. We have talked about Lake Norman quite a bit this year. Lake Norman had a very good regular season in both men's and women's basketball this year. Well, Lake Norman got in a little bit of trouble, as it was reported a few days ago that the top seed in the 4A state playoffs has been removed from the postseason. They have been completely taken off of the bracket and have been disqualified. According to Langston Wirtz Jr. of the Charlotte Observer, the school discovered an ineligible player and reported the violation to the NCHSAA. The player in question was taking at least some classes off campus, and the school had difficulty tracking his eligibility. Now, Lake Norman was set to face Myers Park in the third round of the playoffs, but they were forced to forfeit that game, so the Mustangs moved on to round number 4. And we have fourth round action for you later on today as well, in both the men's and women's. But a very big story, the number 1 team in the 4A bracket, Lake Norman, they had to forfeit, and they have been removed from the playoffs. So for the men's team, it is definitely a tough situation there. No real other stories about that. It's really that was it. But it's definitely not a good story to have as we are in the postseason. Lake Norman they were going to be the team to beat this year, in my opinion. I've been saying it all year long. I think they were going to be the team to beat as we go through these playoffs. But an ineligible player, the school actually self-reported this. So it was not like they were trying to hide it, but it was actually that the player was taking some classes off campus and they were having some problems tracking his eligibility. Definitely a tough way to end the season, especially if you're a senior for the Lake Norman basketball team. My heart goes out to you. That is just a tough one to stomach. But nonetheless, playoffs go on. Whether you're in it or not, the playoffs will continue until we crown a champion in both, not only the 4A bracket, but we need 3A, we need 2A, we need 1A as well. So we're going to go ahead and go over all of those for you today. Also, not only that, but a little bit of other things going on. We got news recently, very recently, the news broke of the realigned conferences for the years 2025 through 2029 in high school athletics in the state of North Carolina. No longer is there a 1A through 4A. It is now 1A through 8A. There are now 8 different classes. And I'll tell you what, the 8A is very limited. Not many schools are in that bracket. Everybody else has pretty much the same amount, give or take. It's a little bit, but the top conference of 8A is only going to have 32 schools. 7A will have 60 schools. 6A will have 58 schools. 5A with 59, 4A with 59, 3A with 59, 2A with 59, and then the 1A conference is going to have 57 schools. It's going to take a little bit of time to sort all this out because I'm looking at the board of directors approved realignment and all the ways that they have it broke down. And I am a little bit confused. I'm not going to lie. There are some schools that are listed in 6A that are also listed in 7A. I'm assuming, I don't want to do too much assuming because you know what they say about assuming, but I'm assuming that some schools, maybe the football team will be 8A or 7A, and then the baseball team's probably not going to be 7 or 8A. I'm not exactly sure how it goes. We're going to have to feel our way through this for the next few years, but this is going to start next year. So starting with next school year, there will be 8A, 7A, 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A, which means there's going to be a lot more playoffs going on. That's all that's going to mean, basically, is there's a lot more opportunities because we only have 4 right now. There's 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A. And there's basketball playoffs going on right now. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about those men's basketball playoffs that are going on. We already talked about the big situation going on in the 4A bracket with Lake Norman being disqualified, being forced to forfeit their game. They are eliminated. Myers Park, the 9 seed, who was supposed to play Lake Norman on the 4th, moves on to round number 4, which round number 4 takes place today. Myers Park will be playing Chambers High School, who upset number 5 Independence. Another team that we've talked about a lot that did not progress into the 4th round is Mooresville High School. Mooresville lost to number 5 Independence in the 2nd round. They only lost that game by 2, but it is a loss, and because of that, they've been eliminated from the playoffs. On the other side of that 4A bracket, you have North Mecklenburg, the 3 seed, playing Watauga High School, the 7 seed. The winner of those 2 games are going to move on to the Final 4. Yes, we are right around the corner, crowning basketball state champions. Man, it feels like we just started the conversation, but actually, it's the end of the season. You know what we are going to start the conversation on soon, and that's high school baseball. Baseball has started up. Spring sports are beginning, and once we wrap up the basketball playoffs, that's when we'll take a deep dive into baseball. But right now we're going through the state championship brackets here for the 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A brackets. Man, I was shocked when I saw the news about Lake Norman High School being ineligible, having an ineligible player on their roster. But nonetheless, we move on. And like I said, somebody's going to take Lake Norman's place. But we're going to go to our commercial break here. When we come back, I want to wrap up the high school basketball playoffs. Today's a very special day. I told you last week, the NHL trade deadline. We'll get into that also after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Yeah, well, finally the wind has cooled its jets a little bit for our Friday. A lot less windy. Still a breeze from time to time, but nothing like what we've seen over the last couple of days. We'll see some extra clouds today, but stay dry. Temperatures around 60 for our afternoon. Cooling back off tonight as temperatures fall into the upper 40s. We'll warm into the low 70s with some sunshine for our Saturday. Cooler and a slight chance for a passing shower Sunday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Nina's Boutique.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Bin 110 in Cornelius presents live music Thursday through Saturday. The Ben Gatlin Duo, John Sullivan, and Retroflex headline 3 straight nights of live performances. Visit bin110.com for more information and their full upcoming music schedule. We'll see you this weekend at Bin 110. Friday night, Boatyard Lake Norman welcomes Mostly Crew, a tribute to one of the 80s hard rockin' bands, Motley Crue. Tickets are available in advance or at the door. The Mostly Crew concert begins at 8:30 p.m. Friday night at Boatyard Lake Norman in Cornelius. The Plant House in Huntersville presents the 7th annual Plant Market Friday through Sunday. Spring is just around the corner and the Plant House is kicking off the season in style, including incredible deals, drink specials, and local vendors. Follow the Plant House in Huntersville on the socials for more info and exclusive discounts. Saturday night, the 500 Club in Statesville presents live music with Andy Buckner. This country artist blends honky-tonk, party anthems, and heartbreak healers. Enjoy live music at 6 p.m. Saturday at the 500 Club with the Andy Buckner performance. Speedway Motorsports is promoting the most affordable kids' tickets in professional sports. The campaign covers $10 tickets for the NASCAR Cup Series and free tickets to kids 12 and under for NASCAR Truck and Xfinity Series events across 14 race weekends in 2025. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com or Ticketmaster.com for more information and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
MerleFest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, The Warren Treaty, The Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
Thought-provoking conversations and informed perspectives.
It's meant for everyday people to understand, and you don't have to stress about technical terms and stuff. They just say it like a real person.
WSIC News Talk Now.
The best talk all day long.
WSIC.
Local starts here. It's the Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Scoreboard on this Friday edition. Oh, boy. Poor Lake Norman, man. I feel so bad for them. I really do. Just hearing that story and seeing that news, that was a tough one. Nonetheless, I do want to move on. I don't want to dwell on that. In the 3A bracket, which we're going to go down today, we're going to go 4A down to 1A. 3A, we have our 4th round matchups ready, and it's actually pretty interesting. You have the number 1 seed who is still in the playoffs, that being Ashbrook High School. They're going to play number 12. Yes, number 12, Huss, Huss, Huss High School. Huss was a benefit of upsets, in my opinion. High Point, the number 20 seed, beat Robinson, the number 4 seed, to go play Huss, and Huss upset Lincoln Charter. So what we had was we had a 12 seed playing a 20 seed instead of, if it were to have gone chalk, a 5 seed playing a 4 seed. So obviously 12 seed playing a 20 seed, it's kind of a toss-up. 12 seed Huss moves on to the 4th round. Now they have to take on the number 1 team in the 3A bracket in Ashbrook High School. That game is today. As I said, all of these 4th round games are going to be today. This game tips off at 6:30. Now, on the other side of the bracket, you have Ben L. Smith High School, that's the number 11 seed, playing Crest High School, the number 10 seed. Now, for Ben L. Smith High School, they beat number 22 Carson, which they're a better seed in the bracket. They had a better year. But then they beat number 6 AC Reynolds, and then they beat number 3 Dudley. So the 11 seed Ben L. Smith High School is having a great playoff run here as they move into the 4th round. Crest High School, another team, the 10 seed, they got pretty lucky here. They did not have to play number 2 East Henderson. Oak Grove High School took care of East Henderson for them. And then Crest High School took care of business when they played Oak Grove. So that's how we ended up with an 11 seed playing a 10 seed with a chance to go to the Final Four. In the 2A bracket, this is where we start to see a little bit more of what is expected. Number 1, Reedsville High School, playing number 4, Salisbury High School. Now, there were no upsets in this bracket, really. I mean, Pine Lake, my alma mater, they won their first round game, but then they ran into the number 4 seed Salisbury, and they got taken down. Understandable. Completely understandable. On the other side, you have Lincoln Charter playing Bandy's High School. That's a 6 versus a 15. Now, remember, Randleman High School was the 2 seed in this side of the bracket, and they lost in round number 1. So it was really wide open to see who was going to come out of the west side. I guess we can call it the southwest side of the bracket. It ends up being number 6 Lincoln Charter, who beat number 3 North Surrey, and Bandy's High School, the 15-ranked team in the bracket, beating number 7 Shelby 67-46. It was they beat them handedly there. So those winners there will move on to the Final Four. And now in the 1A bracket, this is where we really don't see any upsets. Number 1, Bishop McGuinness High School playing number 5, Corvian Community High School. A 5 instead of a 4 is what it is there, instead of being chalk. And then it went chalk on the other side of the bracket. Number 3, Queens Grant High School. Number 2, South Stokes High School. The winners go to the Final Four. Final Four weekend coming up soon. Regional matchups and then the state championship games. So stay tuned to the Scoreboard. We will be giving you all the information that you need as we progress through the remainder of the playoffs. And then we have a lot of fun to do with baseball. Spring sports. I love baseball. Best time of the year, in my opinion. No sport quite like it. Just being able to step out on a baseball field, it's peaceful, man. It's peaceful. So stay tuned. Next week, we'll talk more about the playoff games, as we will have state championship games to go over. Now let's change gears a little bit here and go into the NHL. Today is a very important day in the National Hockey League. It is the trade deadline, where you have a lot of teams that, if you're in playoff contention, you're going to say, all right, let's look at the trade market and see who we can bring in. And if you're not in playoff contention, you say, all right, who do we have on our team that we don't want to re-sign, that we can send elsewhere? And one of the teams that's been pretty active, maybe not active as they haven't made a whole bunch of moves yet, but being talked about quite a lot, is the Carolina Hurricanes. And producer CJ, you were talking to me about this earlier. Mikko Rantanen, man.
I have a breaking update for you.
Do you have breaking news for me?
Yes.
Regarding the Hurricanes?
Yes.
Uh-oh. All right, hit me with it.
So Dallas and Rantanen, there's now a stalemate as the deadline looms. So he hasn't agreed to an extension. As it was said last night, there was a trade that was set out, but he didn't want to extend there. So as of right now, the Carolina Hurricanes have said everything is on the table, and they are speaking with other teams regarding his situation.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. You know, Carolina traded for Mikko Rantanen about a month ago now, I'd say. And they expected him to re-sign with the team, or at least they wanted him to re-sign, which is why they made the trade so early in the season, to give themselves that month to negotiate.
Right. Well,
the talks fail, and then now you're at a crossroads if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, and you have two options. You are currently a playoff team. Are you currently a cup contender? I would say no. I don't think Carolina's a cup contender right now.
No.
So do you go into today, and we still have 3.5 hours before trading is going to be halted. Do you go into today and say, okay, who else is out there that we can bring in to really buff our lineup and make a run at the Stanley Cup? Or do you say, okay, Mikko Rantanen, we traded for him. He's not going to re-sign with us. We are not a cup contender right now. Let's get rid of him and get what we can for him instead of just letting him walk for nothing in the offseason. And it seems like Carolina's going with option number 2.
Right.
And I don't agree with that. I think they're close. I think Carolina, and I've been on this bandwagon for the past 3 years, saying, Carolina, if you want to be a legitimate cup contender,
you have to get scoring.
What?
You have to get scoring.
They have plenty of scoring. They don't have a goaltender.
Yeah,
they don't have a Stanley Cup caliber goaltender.
Did you see that save Gibson made the other night? It was like behind the back.
And that is the name that I have been bringing up and I think this year the momentum for John Gibson to Carolina really started to intensify.
Yep.
And I have been for the past 3 years saying, you have the team, you have the stars, you had the defense a couple of years ago. The defense is a little bit decimated now. Losing Brett Pesce was a huge loss for Carolina.
That was bad.
But you're now in a position where you're desperate because the window is closing.
Right.
It is. Contracts are going to catch up to you. The salary cap is a real thing in the NHL. It's not like the MLB where there's a cap, but if you spend more, we're not going to be mad.
Right. And I think they should, logically, if you were really thinking about it, I think the only place he wants to go is back to Denver. So, I mean, could they pull off a move back to Denver and try to recuperate Nakis? Probably not. Is it going to happen?
I'm pretty sure there's actually rules preventing that.
Oh, really?
Now, we'd have to double check. And if you have some time, do this research for me real quick.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a stipulation in most sports leagues that if you trade a player, you cannot trade him back to his original team within a certain amount of time.
Right.
I think it's a year.
Right. Well,
because you don't want to trade him and then trade him back and then trade him back. Right. You don't want to do that.
Well, what got me is I don't know if you saw the video on X yesterday, but Nakis actually came out after the practice skate with Colorado and said, I still talk to all those guys on the team. They should have known before they made that trade that he was going to sign pen and paper 8 years for whatever he was looking for.
And I completely agree for
you. You don't just make that kind of
trade.
trade.
Mikko Rantanen is not the kind of player that you hope he's going to sign, especially giving up who you gave up. Gave up Jack Drury, who's a very good bottom six player.
He's like growing in the league.
He is. He's a young player.
He could have signed 8 years in Carolina.
And Marty Necas, who he was under a lot of scrutiny in Carolina, so I'm not surprised that they got rid of him. But if you don't trade for Rantanen and you keep Necas, maybe he continues to grow under you. Now, maybe it wasn't at the rate that they wanted him to grow, but now you're at this situation and you've created this situation.
Well, I mean, it's like since he's been traded, what has he done? Like nothing. Maybe like 4 or 5 assists, maybe 2 goals. You look at what Nakis has done in out there in Colorado. I mean, granted, if you're playing with Nathan McKinnon, you're going to obviously flourish.
You got to keep that into account because if you're playing with one of the best goal scorers in the NHL, your stats are going to be elevated a little bit.
Right.
Mikko Rantanen, 13 games played in Colorado, or in Carolina, I should say. 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points, -3.
That's not 13.5 at AAV that he wants a year, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
Something needs to change.
It does.
Something needs to change. We are going to be monitoring the NHL trade deadline. We'll talk a little bit more about it once we come back from this next commercial break. If you want to call in and chat about the NHL or anything else, phone number 844-STUDIO-4. Join me. Ask me a question. Yell at me. I don't care. We'll be back right after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment. From 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Yeah, well, finally the wind has cooled its jets a little bit for our Friday. A lot less windy. Still a breeze from time to time, but nothing like what we've seen over the last couple of days. We'll see some extra clouds today, but stay dry. Temperatures around 60 for our afternoon. Cooling back off tonight as temperatures fall into the upper 40s. We'll warm into the low 70s with some sunshine for our Saturday. Cooler and a slight chance for a passing shower Sunday. That's your forecast In the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Have you taken the Desco Challenge? Desco is where the professional goes for electrical supplies.
My name is Ashley. I just redid the lighting in my home, and the customer experience at Desco was second to none.
See for yourself at DescoInc.com.
The Statesville Family YMCA reminds you that older adults and those with chronic health conditions don't need to feel they must accept impaired balance and limited mobility. Build strength, improve balance, and gain confidence in your mobility through the Moving for Better Balance program. For questions and additional information, email C. Mullins at ymcanwnc.org.
Hi, this is Susan. I'm excited to let you know that Lake Mountain Coffee is now available for private events. Our beautiful historic building with its 360-degree mezzanine has hosted many private parties, catered diners, and even an actual wedding. Please contact Andy at 704-252-1886 for more information. Thank you so much.
If you're between the ages of 55 and 63, disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. The average is about $1,300 a month. It's a benefit you are entitled to from working. Use it to pay your normal living expenses. This free call only takes 10 minutes, and it could provide you the necessary financial relief you need. Plus, our services cost you nothing until you receive your benefit check. Save yourself time and aggravation. We know how to get the job done for you as quickly as possible. So if you are physically or mentally disabled and can't return to work, and you're between the ages of 55 and 63, learn if you qualify for your $1,300 a month check. Make this free call right now to the Social Security Disability Helpline.
800-854-2074. 800-854-2074. 800-854-2074. That's 800-854-2074.
This is a true, sad story for ADT, the leader in home security systems. My favorite dog, Oliver, was stolen from our garage recently. If I had a camera system installed in my home from ADT, I would have known exactly what car possibly pulled up in my driveway and stole my little friend. If I had a security system from ADT, my dog would still be here. I called ADT this weekend, and they're coming out in a few days to install a camera and a new security system. Unfortunately, it's a little too late for me. Listen, protect everyone you love in your family. Call ADT now. Have them come out and give you a quote to install a full security system in your home. Don't let it be too late for you. Call right now.
Paid for by the Home Security Hotline. 800-430-4602. 800-430-4602. 800-430-4602. That's 800-430-4602.
No radio? No worries.
Just ask Alexa to play WSIC.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. In a departure from the pattern of the past several years, the hottest clothing chain owned by The Gap is The Gap. The nation's #1 retailer devoted to apparel says sales at its namesake chain jumped 7% in the just finished quarter, which included the run-up to Christmas. That's several times stronger than forecast. Sales at its Old Navy and Banana Republic chains also beat market expectations. A surprise sales disappointment was Athleta, but that's not stopping a celebration. Shares of Gap are jumping 12%. Costco is serving up something you don't often see from the big warehouse club, weaker than forecast earnings. That's driving down shares, right now losing 7%. But analysts tell Bloomberg looking forward, they think Costco is better positioned to weather current and potential challenges, such as inflation and tariffs, than many of its retail rivals. Wall Street's indexes started higher, now they're not. They're down. Dow, NASDAQ, S&P 500, each losing roughly 0.25%. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
Who is this? This is 105.9 100.7.
WSIC. Local starts here.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And welcome back, everyone. John Gibson. Remember that name, because when the Carolina Hurricanes do not trade for him, I'm going to be upset. I don't see any other option. Anyway, welcome back to the Scoreboard, 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. We have a caller in the studio. Let's get him on the air. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the Scoreboard.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How about you today?
I got a small list for you. After I give you the list, I know you're going to give me your expertise like you always do, and I appreciate you giving me the time because I'm getting old up there in age, and at least I can get this off my chest, some of my complaints that I have with sports. Okay,
Absolutely.
buddy?
Let's hear it.
Okay. You said baseball season's coming around. You know, when you hit a ball and it goes over third base and then it goes foul, it's a fair ball. And that's contradictory to if you hit a ball to left field and it was in the field of play and it went into the stands, it would be a foul ball. So what I'm saying is if you hit a ground ball to third or even first and the ball doesn't go over the bag in the field, it should be a foul ball, but they call it a fair ball. Then if you catch a ball in the outfield and your whole body goes into the stands, you shouldn't be able. If you can't keep your whole body in the field of play, it definitely shouldn't be an out. It should be a home run and something like that. On a foul tip, if you foul tip the ball in the third strike, you're out. How come you're not out if you foul tip the ball in the first or second strike? And in basketball, at the end of the game, they always go to the clock and they put another half a second on or a second back to keep the game, with the clock, because it's impossible to stop the clock in time. And they just give you another second. But they don't do it in the first quarter. They always do it like in the fourth quarter. But in basketball, the same thing in football. In college also, or pros, wouldn't you love to see these coaches wearing the uniform? Coming in, and showing their beautiful legs. It'd be great, for uniforms because, they're always wearing different outfits. And how about in football? Why can't a football field go from 1 yard to 100 yards instead of 240s and 230s and 220s? Why can't they number the field like 1 to 100? And in basketball, maybe you could tell me this. Is there a rule Euro step? I never heard of this Euro step until a few years ago. And is it in the rule book? Or, we know they've been walking and palming for years, but now they do this Euro step. In football, if you punt the ball, why don't you punt the ball that the ball has to stay in the field? Like if you kick the ball off and it goes out of the field, it's a penalty. So if you punt the ball, you should have to punt the ball in the field. And I got one more beef to complain about. At the end of a basketball game, they're always going to the clock because an A guy say the ball went off his hands. But B guy actually forced the ball off his fingertips. So when they review it, who really forced the ball out? The player from behind, the B guy, forces the ball off the tips of the A guy. If he didn't force the ball off the A guy, it definitely would be, the B guy should have the ball that went out of bounds, that team. The guy who actually caused the ball to go out of bounds, that's what they should call, because with the technology in the film, sure, the ball might have hit his fingertips, but why did it hit his fingertips, when they were going for a rebound at the end of the game? And Joe, I hope you heard all this real fast as I can make it for you. If you could just, tell me a couple of your geniuses with your expertise with all this, and talk about it, I appreciate it, Joe.
Absolutely, Lenny. I got it all here. I'm going to go through it, and we'll talk about it now. Stay tuned, all right? All right. That's one thing. Okay, one of the things that he touched on there that I've always also had a problem with is the excessive amount of reviews, especially in the final 2 minutes of a basketball game. Oh, my goodness. The final 2 minutes of an NBA game, it can literally take 30, 45 minutes to finish because, okay, we got to review it. The ball went out of bounds. How many seconds are on the clock? How many seconds are actually on the clock? We got to stop doing this. If the people who are running the clock can't hit stop at the right time. Maybe we need a better way to time these games. Maybe we need some kind of technological help here, because every time you pause the game and you go to the table and you review, the momentum of the game is gone. Like, it could be the biggest moment ever. It could be the game 7 of the NBA Finals, but there's 26.8 seconds left. Sorry, we got to go review it. There's actually 28.6 seconds left. Oh, we got to review it again. Is it 13.5 or is it 13.2? Like, you're killing the momentum and the moment of the game, and you don't do it in the first 10, 20 minutes of the game. You only wait until it's important. You got to pick one or the other. Either you're reviewing it all the time, which nobody wants. Nobody wants more reviews. Or you just let it go and you say, sorry, I don't see a solution other than picking one or the other. And you'll see it in the NFL as well. Did he step out of bounds with 1 second left, or was there 0 seconds left on the clock? Think about the kick six. Do you remember the kick six, CJ?
I think so.
Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama's kicking a field goal. Yep. Do you remember what happened before that?
No.
It was a review to see if there was 1 second left on the clock, or if the clock actually hit 0 like the scoreboard operator allowed.
Right.
Now, that's a moment where if they would have just let it run out, we never would have had the kick six.
Right.
Huge moment in sports, never would have happened. But we see it all the time where we see these reviews of, did the score clock operator get it right, basically? I'm annoyed by that. Yeah. I don't like that. There's got to be, and there's so much technology now, there's got to be a way where you can have the clock connected to something to where, okay, the clock stops. Ball goes out of bounds in the NBA. Boom. The ball hits, the clock stops.
Right.
And I don't want to say, because I know a lot of people use tennis as the example, because you see in tennis a lot a challenge. Okay, I want to challenge that. And then they go to the graphic where, did the ball hit the line or not? And it's quick. It's like, boom, the technology's there. You can see, did the ball hit the line? And we're not spending 5 minutes reviewing it. There's got to be something like that you can do for the NBA. And again, I get that it's different. And I get that the technology is going to be different. But there's got to be a way to make scoring, to make timing these games more accurate. Right. You see it all the time. Lose a second here. You gain a second here. Sure, maybe it all evens out at the end. But if it all evens out, why are you being so meticulous about it in the final 2 minutes? Because that's when it matters.
Right.
And I will continue to say the end of the game is not the most important thing. The end of the game is never the most important.
It's
in
how
my
you
opinion.
play in the first 3
It's
quarters.
It's the first 5 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
How do you come out the gates? That is more important than anything. Whether it's a game, whether it's a series, whether it's a season, it's more important, in my opinion, to start strong.
Agreed.
Because if you're not starting strong, you're playing a lot of come from behind. So, man, that got me on my soapbox there a little bit. I agree with Lenny, man.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We got to time these games better. And I don't know what can be done about that, but I'm sure that something can be done about it. We're coming up on our final commercial break of the day here. When we return, we're going to go back into the NHL a little bit. There's a little bit of breaking news here, some trades that have happened since we've gotten on air. Then we're going to talk about the NASCAR Cup Series as we go to the desert, Phoenix. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this.
This guy knows his sports, right? There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Yeah, well, finally the wind has cooled its jets a little bit for our Friday. A lot less windy. Still a breeze from time to time, but nothing like what we've seen over the last couple of days. We'll see some extra clouds today, but stay dry. Temperatures around 60 for our afternoon. Cooling back off tonight as temperatures fall into the upper 40s. We'll warm into the low 70s with some sunshine for our Saturday. Cooler and a slight chance for a passing shower Sunday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Bin 110 in Cornelius presents live music Thursday through Saturday. The Ben Gatlin Duo, John Sullivan, and Retroflex headline 3 straight nights of live performances. Visit bin110.com for more information and their full upcoming music schedule. We'll see you this weekend at Bin 110. Friday night, Boatyard Lake Norman welcomes Mostly Crew, a tribute to one of the 80s hard rockin' bands, Motley Crue. Tickets are available in advance or at the door. The Mostly Crew concert begins at 8:30 p.m. Friday night at Boatyard Lake Norman in Cornelius. The Plant House in Huntersville presents the 7th annual Plant Market Friday through Sunday. Spring is just around the corner and the Plant House is kicking off the season in style, including incredible deals, drink specials, and local vendors. Follow the Plant House in Huntersville on the socials for more info and exclusive discounts. Saturday night, the 500 Club in Statesville presents live music with Andy Buckner. This country artist blends honky-tonk, party anthems, and heartbreak healers. Enjoy live music at 6 p.m. Saturday at the 500 Club with the Andy Buckner performance. Speedway Motorsports is promoting the most affordable kids' tickets in professional sports. The campaign covers $10 tickets for the NASCAR Cup Series and free tickets to kids 12 and under for NASCAR Truck and Xfinity Series events across 14 race weekends in 2025. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com or Ticketmaster.com for more information and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Merlefest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, the Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Flores, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, the Warren Treaty, the Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
Craving a taste of Italy? At Palmadoro's, we serve up scratch-made comfort with every bite. From our hand-tossed pizzas to classic pasta dishes, it's the perfect place to gather your family or just treat yourself. Visit palmadoros.com for menus and hours. Your table's waiting.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't fix America's debt by starving its people.
Have your say.
One shooting after another, and we're doing nothing to solve it?
This is WSIC. News, talk, now.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Final segment here on the Scoreboard, 844 Studio 4, monitoring everything going on in the NHL trade deadline. The biggest story right now, Mikko Rantanen, Carolina Hurricane currently, maybe not by the end of the day. Now, the trade deadline is at 3 p.m., so negotiations can still happen until then. And also remember this. In the NHL, you see a lot more action the later you get in the day. So by 2 o'clock, we're going to be hearing about a lot of trades that are happening. 3 o'clock will come around, and I promise you, this happens every single year. We will be getting trades coming in that are being reported after 3 o'clock because there's going to be a backlog of trades that start piling up, unless this is the 1 year when that doesn't happen. But normally what happens is trades start getting submitted, like a whole bunch are going to influx the front office at once around 2:30 or so. And it takes a little bit of time to sort through all that. And you're going to get some reports coming at 3:10, 3:15, 3:20. I'm over here monitoring. I got producer CJ over there monitoring as well. He's going to jump in if there's any breaking news that happens in this next 10 minutes. I don't expect for anything to happen in the next 10 minutes. If we see a move by the Hurricanes on Rantanen, I believe it's going to be last minute, one of those final trades of the day, because somebody who they're negotiating with is going to say, you know what? Hands in the air, let's go for it. The Stars are a team that can, hands in the air, whatever, let's just do it. And the closer you get to that deadline, the more enticing it is to just throw your hands in the air and say, whatever, we're going to make the trade. We're going to make a run at the cup.
Well, here's something interesting that I just came across. The Dallas offered him 8 years
8 years.
AAV
12.
Yeah, at 12.5.
Yeah, 12.5.
Carolina was somewhere around 13.5. So
he wants 14, man.
Right.
Here's what I find funny. Here is what I find funny. He's playing in Colorado. Colorado is telling him, we're not matching your number. So he says, okay, trade me. Fine. They traded him. Goes to Carolina. Carolina says, we're not matching your number. Fine, trade me. He's talking with Dallas. We're not going to match your number. So, knock, knock. Hey, Miko, maybe you're not worth the $14 million a year you thought you were. And here's another thing. Would you rather sign for 8 years at $12 million or 7 years at $14 million? Because that's what it's going to end up being. When you're with a team, when you're a part of their organization, you are eligible for an 8-year extension. When you're a free agent signing with a new team, you're only eligible for a 7-year contract. So it is a year less that you're eligible for. We got a caller here into the studios. Let's go ahead and bring him on the air. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the Scoreboard.
Good morning, Joe Berg.
Oh, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Friday and fabulous day.
Are you feeling a little nervous for the next week?
Yeah, a little nervous till 8:30 tomorrow night, and then I guess we'll have our results, kind of where the season's going to go.
Yeah.
But
I saw that.
Show up and
I saw that the Tar Heels were listed as the first team out. I think I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, they've been hovering right around that first out line, but I don't know that some of that stuff they got in there. I mean, I know the SEC's good and all that, but they're talking about some of these teams that's only got 4 and 5 wins and like 11 and 12 losses in the conference. I mean, come on. You at least got to get close to a 500 record in your conference. I mean, I know it might be good, but that's ridiculous. Tar Heels are way above 500. They've already got 13 wins. I know the ACC's kind of down, but some of these ones they're saying 12, 13 teams out of the SEC and Big Ten, and I mean, come on, that's a little ridiculous over the top there. I know they're the 2 best conferences, but I think the ACC's got at least 4 good teams, maybe 5, depending on how they perform in the tournament. But just crazy kind of how they measure everything now. It's like you got to be the best of the best in November, December, and then nothing counts after that. I don't agree with how they kind of the metrics and how they score things, but who am I? But anyway, just wanted to throw that out there, get your thoughts on it. I think Duke's favored by 12 points, and so hopefully the Heels can do something good.
Yeah, 12, 12's, I would have thought it would have been around 14, maybe 15 for that game. So I'll tell you what, I know they haven't played any of the barn burners here recently, but since that loss to Clemson, to go on a run here at the end of the year and continue to put yourself in the conversation, that's what matters. They're still in the conversation. They haven't bowed out. They're still competing. And now you got the biggest game of the year coming up against Duke. So the good news, I guess, is it's in your home stadium. You don't have to go to Cameron.
Yeah. Get maybe a little home court vibe there, and maybe they can show up, hit the threes like they've been doing in these other games. I know the competition's been a little down from obviously Duke's level, but who knows? They didn't think Tar Heels would pull it out in Coach K's last year and beat him twice to end his career. So maybe they got another one in them.
Maybe. I mean, hey, it's gonna be very interesting.
That's why we play the games, right? That's why they play them. If it was all on paper, then Duke would just take the victory and go on to the tournament, I guess. But,
exactly. Got to play the game.
Yeah. Got to show up. So we'll see what happens.
We will. Well, hey,
I wanted to comment on your Lake Norman, about their team and all not making or getting disqualified.
Yeah.
Is that going to go back and be retroactive to all their games this year, wherever that player might have played in, or how will that count?
You know, I checked.
Other game.
I checked their Max Preps page earlier today, just to kind of see if they have already made an adjustment, and it doesn't look like they have yet. But I did also see on the 4A bracket that they have now changed the result of the round 1 game versus Cuthbertson to a forfeit for Lake Norman. So I'm not sure if they're going to retroactively go back and forfeit all of those games. Maybe they will, considering they did it for round 1 of the playoffs. I guess the Max Preps page is just a little slow. I'm going to get in contact with Langston Wirtz Jr. of the Charlotte Observer and see if he'll join me on the program next week to kind of sort this out, because he's got the in, he knows the information. I'm just kind of reading the information and relaying it to you. So I'm going to I got to take a deeper dive into that, but man, that was definitely a tough thing to see that they got disqualified. One of the best teams in the state, man.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Joe. All right, buddy. Appreciate it, and go Tar Heels.
Go Tar Heels. We'll see what happens. Always good to hear from you.
All right, talk to you later, buddy.
Absolutely. Bye-bye. Thanks for calling in today. Yeah, I don't. If Carolina can beat Duke tomorrow night, are they in? Does that win vault them in? I wouldn't count against that. But if they lose, how bad do you lose, first of all? Because that always matters for some reason in college. Did you lose by 1 or did you lose by 50? Well, see, in my opinion, a loss is a loss, no matter if it's by 5 or by 50 or by 12. And I saw this, too, the other day, that the NCAA is thinking of expanding the NCAA tournament. I don't think we need to expand again. It's just, man, if we're going to expand again, just let everybody in. Why not, right? What's the point of a regular season? Let them all in and just go play, go have fun, go play. 844 Studio 4. We got a couple of minutes left here on the scoreboard today. Tracking the NHL trade deadline. CJ, any news for me?
A little bit of news.
Little bit. All right, let's hear it real quick.
It has now come out that Rantanen has interest in Toronto and Florida in free agency.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
So it sounds like the Hurricanes will probably hold on to him and he'll test the market.
If the Hurricanes decide to hold on to him, they better make a trade for John Gibson.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
I would agree with that.
Because, and I looked at this last year as well with Jacob Markstrom when he was being shopped around. And I was like, knock, knock, Carolina, wake up. One of the best goaltenders in the NHL is available, and you need a goaltender. They let him go to the Devils, and now look at how good the Devils are. They're the 3rd team in the Metro after missing the playoffs last year. So, I don't know what. I get it. Forwards matter. I get it. Defensemen matter. But you know what really matters in the playoffs is your goaltender. Definition of insanity. Same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And that's what we've got with the Carolina Hurricanes and the goaltender situation. We got until 3 o'clock, though, to figure this out. So hopefully we come back next week saying they did a good job. Thanks for tuning into the scoreboard today, everybody. Always love talking to you guys out there. I'll be back same time, same place next week. Until then, have a great weekend, everyone.